There's a world on my hard drive that I haven't opened since I was 15, and I only found it because I was clearing space off my computer a couple weeks ago, and there it was, sat in the saves folder called New World 3, because I obviously never named any of them. So I opened it, and it's all still there. The dirt hut with no door on it, chest with 64 cobblestone and a single lily pad, the hole that I'd started digging straight down, which is the one thing that you're specifically told not to do. And I stood there for a second, and I did genuinely feel something, which I felt a bit stupid about, but I did. And then I played for 10 minutes and I closed it. I didn't even do anything in those 10 minutes. I ran around for a little bit, stood still for a while, opened the crafting table and shut it again. Went into the settings for no reason at all and quit. 10 minutes in a game I've put something like 1,000 hours into. And that stayed with me because that world is one of the only things from being a kid that I can still open. It's still there, it still works, and it is exactly the same as I left it. And I lasted 10 minutes. And the annoying thing is that there's two obvious explanations for it, are both sitting right there. And I don't actually think either of them is true. The first one would be that I've grown up, which fine, I'll come back to that. There's something in it. The second one's that the game got worse. And that one I'll just throw out now because it didn't. It's a better game than it was in 2013 by every measurable standard. There's more in it. It runs better. They fixed nearly everything that was broken. So it's not the game. And I don't think it's just that I'm older. So I ended up going back a few more times over the next week or so, basically to watch myself play, to try and catch the thing as it was happening, which is a bit tragic, but it did work because I noticed some stuff. The first thing that I noticed is that I have 40 something worlds in that saves folder. I counted them, and I spent more than an hour in about 3. All the rest are identical. A hole, a crafting table, half a house, and then nothing. 40 little monuments to me getting bored on day 2. The second thing is that I opened the wiki before I even opened the game. I didn't even clock that I'd done it. I was going to build a villager trading hall, so I went and looked up how. And I read about it for 20 minutes, and then I sort of came round and thought, hang on, I haven't even played yet, and I've been doing homework. Then I spent about another 20 minutes picking a seed. 20 minutes looking at other people's screenshots of a world I hadn't been to make sure that I got a good one. And then I loaded it up and quit before I found a village. So all of that was for nothing anyway. But the one thing that actually got me was that I muted the game and put a podcast on. And the ambient sound of Minecraft is genuinely some of the best sound design in anything. The cave noises, the rain, the music that comes on at completely random moments and absolutely floors you. And I turned it all off so I could listen to 2 blokes talking about football. And I didn't decide to do that. There was no moment where I weighed it up. I just did, immediately, because sitting there with only the game happening felt like it wasn't enough on its own. And then a bit later I realised I also had a YouTube video going on my other monitor. So let's be clear about what was actually happening. I had a game on, with the sound off, a podcast in my ears and a video player next to it. 3 things at once. And if you'd stopped me right then and asked what I was doing, I'd have said I was playing Minecraft. I wasn't playing Minecraft. Minecraft was the wallpaper. It was the thing I had running so my hands had a job while I watched something else. And I'd have noticed straight away if the video stopped. And I would not have noticed if the game did. Which made me want to work out when I had been playing it. Properly, I mean. Because I definitely used to. And when I was actually playing it, I was rubbish. Genuinely embarrassingly bad at it. I didn't know you could make a bed, so I slept in a dirt box with a torch in it. For what I'm fairly sure was weeks, because I thought that's what the game was. Build a box, hide in it, be frightened, come out in the morning. I found a diamond once and had no idea what it was for, so I just kept it in my chest like a little treasure. Never made anything with it. It was mine and it was special and that was enough. And I got to the Nether entirely by accident. Something happened involving lava and suddenly there was a portal. And I went through it and I was properly terrified. And all of that was the game. Being confused, being a bit scared, making stupid decisions, having no idea what was coming next. That wasn't the stuff around the game, that was the thing itself. Whereas now I know how to do all of it. And worse than that, I know the correct way to do all of it. Because there is a correct way now. There's a right order to get things in. There's an iron farm you're supposed to build, which if you haven't come across, it's a machine that frightens villagers into spawning iron golems, which then get killed automatically so you get iron without doing anything. And I'm not having a go. Some of the stuff is genuinely brilliant. Those people are far cleverer than me. But read that sentence back. We built a factory. in the block game about making a dirt house. And once you know it exists, you cannot unknow it. Every time I mine for iron now, there's a voice going, this is inefficient, there's a machine for this, you're doing it the slow way. And it's not even wrong, it's just a bad thing. It's just her being right as completely eating the thing. So you can't really be bad at Minecraft anymore. Not by accident. Being bad at it is one search away from being fixed. And I'm not strong enough not to do the search. And being bad at it was the whole game. That's why it took 1,000 hours, because I didn't know anything, and finding out was the entire point. I didn't lose the game, I just finished the homework. You can see it in how I start a world now. Every single one goes the same way. Punch a tree, 4 planks, crafting table, wooden pick, stone pick, dig down, there's an iron, bucket, find sheep, make bed, same order every time without thinking. I know exactly how the first 40 minutes of every world I will ever make is going to go before I've made it, which is also why the podcast goes on, because those 40 minutes don't need me to be there for them. And when I was 12, that 40 minutes was the frightening bit. That was the best part. You didn't have a house yet, it was getting dark, you could hear a zombie. Now it's just admin, it's the loading screen before the bit I've also got bored of. Although knowing how to play isn't really the worst of it, because I used to not know what was down there, and I mean genuinely not know. Not hadn't got round to finding out. I thought there might be something at the bottom. I thought if you dug far enough, something might happen to you. Bedrock was basically a rumour. Some lad at school told me there was a layer that you couldn't get through, and I wasn't completely certain he wasn't winding me up. Same with Herobrine, if you remember that. I remember being told about it in the playground and not being entirely sure it wasn't real, and that little sliver of maybe it was worth more to me than any update they've shipped since. But now I know what's in a cave before I go into it. I know what a village looks like from the outside. I know what's in the temple. I know exactly how the end goes. And I know it's a bit of a letdown. And I know that the second the dragon dies, I'll stand there thinking, right, that's that. Because everyone does. None of which I can undo. There's no mod for it, no server, no version you can download that gives you back not knowing. Which is why the nostalgia thing never actually works and everyone's tried it. You go back to the old version, you get the old textures, you drag the render distance down so it looks like it used to when I was playing on my mum's old shitty little Dell laptop, and it's still not it, because the thing you're chasing was never in the game. It was in not having played it yet. And I know that's true because I tried the other version of it as well. I tried going back with the people, which is when I worked out that I don't think I ever really liked Minecraft that much. I think I liked playing with my mates Stooge, Beng, all of them in a big server, because that's what it was. It wasn't a game. It was where every single weekend or school holidays, everyone's in the call. Someone's mum is shouting in the background, telling them there's dinner's ready and get the fuck off their Xbox. Someone's connection has gone down. Somebody's just griefed somebody else's house, blown it up with TNT, and there's genuinely a heated argument happening about a wooden shed. And that game was almost irrelevant to it. It was a room. It was something to be together. Our parents couldn't see. I remember in COVID, when COVID happened, obviously I had just turned 18 and it was the time that I was meant to be going out the most ever, because you're 18, you finally got your ID, you can go to pubs and drink. But I was stuck with having to stay at home and be in lockdown. So what did me and my friends do? We built a pub inside of Minecraft. We all sat on the Xbox call. We had our crate of beers next to us and just drank and chatted shit for hours in the pub that we had built in Minecraft. That was the beauty of the game. But I would rather have one more evening in there than anything I've built since, and I've still got the game. I've still not got the room. Nobody even left, that's the thing. There was no falling out. Nobody moved. It's that they're working now. They've got stuff. They've got a missus. Their jobs don't align. And I do the exact same back. My work is really inconsistent. It doesn't really make sense when we're working. It could be Tuesday evening, Thursday evening. Sometimes I could be working all day, and you just never know with what I do. And there was a last time as well, which is what I keep getting stuck on. There was definitely a final session where all of us were in there at once, and not one of us knew it was happening. Nobody said anything. We all logged off exactly like normal and then just never did it again. And you don't get told. There's no notification. It just quietly becomes the last one, and you find out about it years later on a Tuesday while you're clearing space off your computer. So I load that world up now, and technically it's the same game and it's completely dead. Silent. And I'm sat there going, why isn't this fun? When the answer was never the blocks. It was never once the blocks. And I'd probably have left it there, except once I'd noticed that, I started noticing it everywhere else too. Summers used to feel about 9 years long. 6 weeks off school was a geological era. You'd be bored by the third day, properly, staring at the ceiling board, and there'd still be a month of it left. Whereas when I moved into this flat 2 years ago, it feels like March, last Christmas, feels like something that happened to a slightly different bloke. And that it's not just that time's quicker, it's that nothing's got that bottomless quality anymore, where you can just be inside a thing and not think about how long you've been there. Not a game, not a book, not an afternoon. So I don't actually think why isn't Minecraft fun is the question. I think the question is why doesn't anything quite feel infinite anymore? And Minecraft is just where I happen to notice, because it's the only thing I own that's genuinely unchanged. Everything else moved on, so you can't compare it. That sat there identical, which means when it stops working, it's definitely me. And the reason, as far as I can work out, is going to make me sound like every other person on this website for about 30 seconds, so bear with me. Because obviously everyone says attention span, short form, TikTok's melted your brain. And yeah, fine, I'm not going to sit here pretending I've got the focus of a monk. I've watched half of a film while scrolling, then had to Google what happened in it. Like the other day I watched the Project Hail Mary movie, and then literally had to sit there watching TikToks on it after to find out what the actual plot hole was. But I don't even think that it's because I can't concentrate, because I can. I do. I'll do 9 hours of something locked in and work if I'm actually into it. It's more that Minecraft needed you to be bored first. That was the entry fee. That's how you got in. You were 12, it was raining, you had already been told to get off the Xbox and there was nothing else. And out of nothing, a game about putting blocks in a line is limitless. Boredom wasn't the obstacle you had to get past. Boredom was the ingredient. And I've not been properly bored since COVID. Not at a loose end. I mean, I have not once hit the floor, that empty ceiling staring, nothing to do whatsoever bottom in years. Because I can't get down there. There's always something one tap away that's more stimulating than what I'm doing. And I'll always take it. Every time, without ever deciding to. So Minecraft never gets its turn. It isn't competing with 2013 Minecraft. It's competing with everything, constantly, instantly available. And it loses in about 10 minutes because it was never built to win that fight. It was built for a kid with nothing else on. And you might be holding in your hand the exact reason right now. If there's a phone in your hand while you're watching this, or it's face down next to you, or it's on charge somewhere within reach, and you know precisely where, that's it. That's the thing. That's why you can't sit in a block game for 4 hours anymore. And I'm not going to do a whole bit about phones because everybody's done that. But I will say the reason it took me so long to work this out is that I kept looking for it inside Minecraft. And it was never in there. It was the thing I was holding while I played. Now, the obvious thing to say off the back of all that, and I know it's obvious because I've said it to myself about 9 times while writing this, is, mate, you grew up. That's the whole video. It's a children's game. I'm 25. You're not supposed to like it anymore. And this is a very long way of admitting you got older. And partially, yeah, that's genuinely partly true. And I'm not going to pretend otherwise because it just makes this worse. But I can still lose 4 hours to a game. I did it last week to a game I don't even particularly like. So it isn't that games stop working on me, and it isn't that I'm too old for them. It's that this one asks for something I haven't got anymore. It needs you to be willing to be bad at it, and it needs you to have nowhere else to be. And I've got neither of those anymore. And neither of those is age. Growing up is just something that happens to you. This is something I did. There's one more bit, which is that I used to play Minecraft for fun, and now I try and play it to escape. And those are not remotely the same activity. When I was a kid, playing was just what I did. There wasn't another category for it. Nobody had explained to me yet that time could be wasted. It was just Tuesday. Now every single time I open it, there's a little voice going, you could be doing something else, you're broke. So even when it's good, it isn't clean, I'm not enjoying myself, I'm getting away with something, and you can't relax in an escape hatch. I feel guilty wasting time in a video game, and I don't know when that started or who told me to. Nobody sat me down, there was no day where it was explained that my free time had to produce something now. It just arrived. And now every hour needs a job. This one's the gym, this one's the side project, this one's learning something. And an hour with no job attached is a waste, and I should feel bad about it, which is a completely mental way to live when you say it out loud. That's the actual madness here, not the game, not the fact that I've turned resting into something I have to get away with. and it doesn't even work. Obviously, I don't go and do something productive instead. I do the guilty version of nothing, which is scrolling, because scrolling doesn't feel like a decision. So it doesn't count. 2 hours on my phone doesn't register as wasted. 40 minutes in Minecraft does. So I don't have a fix for you, and I'm not going to do 5 tips to enjoy Minecraft again, because I don't actually think that exists, and I'd be lying. But I'll tell you the one thing that half worked, which was when I made a world, I didn't pick the seed, just took what it gave me, didn't open the wiki, put my phone in a different room, actually a different room, not face down next to me, because face down next to me doesn't count and we both know it, and I wasn't allowed a goal. And the first 20 minutes, kind of horrible, genuinely uncomfortable. I kept reaching for something, and somewhere around 40 minutes in, I found my first diamonds, and I was excited again. And I looked at them and I thought, yeah, decent. But I wasn't 12 again, and I don't think 12 again is available. But it was the closest I've gotten in years, and it cost me nothing except being bored for 20 minutes first. So why isn't Minecraft fun anymore? It's not that the updates and it's not the graphics, they didn't ruin it and you're not too old. It's that you know everything. You can't be bad at it. Everyone you played it with is at work, and you haven't been properly bored since you were 15. Although honestly, I don't think you're missing Minecraft at all. You're just missing being 12. And Minecraft's just the only thing left from back then that still opens that up. Anyway, if any of that has meant something to you, be sure to subscribe. It really does mean the world. And yeah, peace out.